Hi, my name is Layla Singleton, and I am the lead instructor helming the Graphic and Digital Design program here at InFocus Film School. I think that inspiration for graphic designers is a very individual thing. Some designers really love looking at one another's work. They'll go to big blogs online, like Print Magazine has always had a very prominent blog, Design Observer. There's a whole host of them that I think Communication Arts is another great one. Here in Canada, Applied Arts Magazine, they have an inspiring site where they show winners of all their various contests: photography, illustration, graphic design, advertising. But I personally like to look beyond graphic design for inspiration. I find a lot of inspiration in nature, just going to a botanical garden, for example, going someplace and looking at beautiful architecture. I think that inspiration abounds depending on how you choose to look at the world. So certainly you can go to all of the industry resources and be inspired by what other designers are doing, but I think it's important to sometimes get away from design and look at what other visual facets are available for your inspiration, even what other artists are doing, illustrators, photographers. Cast your net wide. That way you don't start to unconsciously incorporate other people's designs and ideas into your repertoire. Really try to find visual inspiration that's unexpected and novel. I think when you're looking for inspiration specifically for a client's projects, it's important, again, to find that clue in the brief and to really immerse yourself in the client's world. If you're working for a pizza parlor doing a rebrand and menus, go to their pizza parlor. Make it part of your homework. This is good homework. Make it part of your homework to go there and eat a slice of their pizza. Make it part of your homework to visit other competing pizza parlors. Look to that client's industry for inspiration, because the inspiration will pop up in unexpected places. You're not an expert on what your client does. So if you allow yourself to be immersed in this novel and strange world that you don't usually inhabit, you can find inspiration in the most incredible and unexpected places. And that translates to work for a client that's truly bespoke. Good graphic design is good communication. So I think we live in a time where messaging is abundant and not all of it is correct. Not all of it is maybe in everybody's best interest. And so having people who are able to communicate facts, communicate effectively and truthfully, I think is always going to be crucial, and is especially crucial in this time where we have social media and things like urban myths and untruths can spread far and wide very quickly. Obviously, graphic designers have importance just in the world of commerce. That's not going away. But I like to think kind of bigger picture, that what's really important about what we do is that we can help communicate in a way that is clear and truthful, and hopefully is making positive changes in the world. I think for me, what is rewarding about graphic design is that sense that I solved a problem. The client handed me a Rubik's Cube, and at the end of the project, I've hopefully solved it. I think that that's very gratifying for me as a designer. Being able to take the limitations that are given to me, whether that's budget, whether that's a very narrow palette of colors that my client likes, a very narrow audience that they're trying to speak to, Maybe they are asking me to consider their product, service, company in a way that challenges my conception of what that product or service or industry is. I find that challenge really, really gratifying. And again, it gets back to that idea of the left and right brain both being stimulated. I find that really exciting as an artist. I think one of the cool things about graphic design is that it's not a tiny industry. My husband works in the visual effects industry, and they have hubs throughout the world where basically, visual effects and CG are kind of concentrated. Graphic designers are very fortunate in that every town needs a graphic designer, from your little tiny, community of 10 people up north to a place like Vancouver or Toronto. Every city needs a graphic designer. So it's great to know that no matter where you go, there is need for your skills. Graphic designers typically will work in a few different environments. So these are kind of like the main food groups of graphic design jobs. So we have in-house graphic design, which comprises the majority of the graphic design jobs. I believe there was a stat from, I don't know how many years ago, from the American Institute of Graphic Arts that was saying that something like upwards of 80% of graphic design jobs are in-house. In-house means that you work for a company whose primary business is not graphic design, but they need a graphic designer. Then you also have the option to work in a studio, a graphic design studio. That would be an environment where you do all design all the time. You have the option to work at an ad agency. An ad agency environment is usually going to be not just focused on the design aspect of things, they are going to be focused on strategy as well. They might do media planning and placement, so deciding how to spend the client's money. Do we buy billboards? Do we do radio spots? Do we do TV ads? And then the other kind of main environment for graphic designers would be working at home, being a freelance graphic designer. And that could manifest in you starting your own studio perhaps, or you just taking on clients on a rolling basis, or maybe you work as a contractor. So you work with a staffing agency and they deploy you anytime one of their clients needs a graphic designer. So those would be kind of the big ones. I would say freelance, in-house, and agency/studio environment. When a graphic designer is starting out, I usually recommend that they try to create as diverse a portfolio as possible, because you don't really know where opportunities will take you, and you don't really always fully know who you are yet. And so you want to give yourself the opportunity to try lots of different projects and just kind of get a sense for who you are. But after you've been in the industry for a while, you may start to amass a portfolio of one type of work, or you may just discover that you enjoy one type of work more than another. And there are really so many areas of specialty within that, underneath that umbrella of graphic design. So, we could talk about things like package design. There are people who just focus on CPG, consumer packaged goods, and that's what they do for a living. That's all they do for a living. There are some people who are environmental graphic designers, and so they are going to be focused on things like wayfinding, signage, anything that exists in a three-dimensional space and is incorporating type and usually some kind of three-dimensional element. You have people who focus just on advertising design. That is all they do, that's their passion. Some people just focus on branding. I mean, the list really goes on and on. You can get very granular, and there are so many areas of specialty. So as a designer, if maybe you don't like one type of project, never fear, there are many different types of projects that you can work on professionally, and you're never just stuck doing something that maybe you're not passionate about.